Welcome, sir. Morning, sir. Morning, sir. Morning, sir.
Asad Zuberi.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to please introduce yourself to the board?
Sir, my name is Asad Zuberi, and I come from a city called Aligarh, which is in Uttar Pradesh. After doing my schooling from Aligarh Muslim University, I went to NIT Allahabad to complete my mechanical engineering. I passed out in year 2019. Thereafter, I worked with Hero MotoCorp for 1 year. So after that, I quit my job, and since then, I've been preparing for UPSC. And my hobbies are I play musical instruments and I like writing blogs on Quora.
Asad, you have in your back you have written that you got first prize project on sales and after sales at Hero MotoCorp, and you joined service also. Was this project instrumental in getting employment in Hero MotoCorp?
Sir, this was a project that when I joined the company, it was a project given to everyone as the trainees. So it was a small 2-week project. So it was not instrumental in me joining the company, but it helped me to grow for the short period of time that I was there. So it was a very positive addition to my stint in that company, sir.
Mechanical engineering is evergreen. Yes. Why is it so?
Sir, because mechanical engineering is a branch that connects with the practical aspects of life. The first one that I'd say, so mobility is one of the most important things that human beings aspire for. And mechanical engineering stands at the very center of mobility, human mobility. So, sir, I think until and unless the human beings exist, we'll have to travel throughout the world, and mechanical engineering is going to stay with us.
And how will the automobile policies presently? Why on its own the automobile sector has not been able to develop? If you really see, most of the companies, Japanese companies, now of course some European companies also, they have come and have captured the market. They have developed the product. Why Indians, or so-called the Indian industry? Can you in brief summarize the evolution of automobile sector of the country?
Yes. Sir, when the sector started in India in the year, even before independence, the Indian automobile sector was mostly focused on the vehicle of the common man, which was a bicycle by then. So Hero Cycles was a very old company at that point of time. But over the period of time, since we needed technology, so all these companies that we were talking about, the European companies and the Japanese companies, so they helped us build up the technology. So I think that was one of the major reasons that why Indian companies relied on the European and the Japanese companies to develop. So, but I think over the last decade, some autonomous companies are also coming up because the recent development of the electric vehicles is also something Indian government is pushing, and it is very promising that India may develop as a hub of EV manufacturing for the world. And also, sir, if we take the example of Hero, it was Hero Honda previously, but then the company split into Hero and Honda with the transfer of technology, and now it's a purely Indian multinational company. So, sir, I think the company developed on the basis of the Japanese and European technology, but going ahead, we see a lot of Indian companies developing in this sector, sir.
Your project was on sales and after sales. Which particular aspect promotes the sale or the after sale?
Sir, I believe sales and after sales are both the important pillar of any industry. When we consider an automobile or a service-based or a technological industry, then after sales has a very important segment or a role to play. So one of the major reasons is that that pre-sales work is done by the sales department. However, the after sales help in developing a relationship with the customer. Moreover, it helps in developing the word of mouth publicity, as well as to create a brand image of any company. So, sir, I believe both of these are the pillars of development.
What was so unique or innovative in your project report that made you get first prize?
Yes, sir. Sir, I went to Rajasthan with a group of 4 people. Four of my colleagues, we visited 4 different Heroes dealership in and around Jaipur. Sir, we noted down the customer reactions with the help of a customer satisfaction form that were provided by the company. Sir, on the basis of the customer reactions, we use the Kano analysis method of after sales, in which we categorize the needs that customer want into 3 different categories of performance, of threshold, and of excitement. Sir, on the basis of these, we classified the needs that hero customers actually demands from the company. And one of the unique results that we reached is that the cost of acquisition a new customer is 5 times more than the cost of retaining an older customer in hero. So that is why after sales was very important. And one of another aspect that we suggested is that if we increase the digital outreach, because we realized that 21% of the hero customers who were booking their slots through the digital app, they were more satisfied as compared to the rest of the customers which were coming offline. So, sir, one of these unique aspect of this research is the suggestion that we gave on the digital front to the company.
Now let's come to the current scenario, the present situation. As petrol prices are rising, or petrol means diesel also. Now there is one segment which is two-wheeler, at best now three-wheeler also. There is another segment, vehicles, 1500 cc, 2000 cc, 2500 cc, personal vehicle, not commercial. And the same cost is borne by a student or a normal with a meager income of say 20,000-30,000 rupees per month of a two-wheeler. And at the same cost, the person who is having 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 cc vehicle, even they are also enjoying at the same. Should not there be some cross subsidization, say 75 rupees per liter petrol to one two-wheeler, and 125. So 100 is the mean. So 75 here and 125 there. So cross subsidization. Should not it be implemented?
Sir, the other country has already seen the kind of cross subsidization once when we were doing the cross subsidization with the fuel like kerosene and petrol. We were following this policy previously. So, but I believe when we talk about these segments where a customer is buying a 100cc bike, as well as another customer is using a 2000 or 2500cc vehicle, the relevance of mileage comes into picture. That if we see the mileage of 100cc vehicle, it will run more kilometers in less petrol or less fuel as compared to the 2000 or 2500cc vehicle. So, sir, I believe that the cross subsidy as of now should not be implemented.
So you are justifying this argument, or you are going against it?
Sir, I think it should not be implemented because we already have the technology that the lesser CC vehicle, which is used by a person who's in the lower income group, is using petrol, and petrol in somehow is more economical for him because he's able to run that vehicle for more number of kilometers as compared to someone who's using a car of 2000 cc or
so 2000 cc petrol vehicle will go only 4 kilometers or 10 kilometers.
Yes, sir.
100 cc will go 100 kilometers.
Yes, sir.
So why not go in for basically promoting those which are less cc? Subsidize that.
Sir, I believe when it comes to the companies, then both the segments are important for the company. The 2000cc segment is also important because the incomes are also rising. The income groups are rising, as well as the 100cc segments are equally important. And if I consider my old firm in which I was working, the more targeted segment was the one of 100cc for the average bikes.
See, this 2000cc motorcycle, 2500, is very less economical, very costly.
Yes, sir.
cost is high, fuel consumption is very high, and it is very highly accident prone.
Yes, sir.
Should we ban these vehicles beyond a particular cc, 200, 300 cc maximum? Should we ban these motorcycles for more than particular cc?
Sir, I think banning these vehicles is not a good option to go ahead with. The reason is that banning any technology, because we don't know that where we are heading to with this kind of technology. So with the safety protocols in place, following the government regulations, as well as doing the sufficient testing on the bikes, if we can maintain the safety with the existing high cc of these motorcycles, I think that is a better way to go.
But do you think Indian roads are fit for 2000 cc motorcycles?
Sir, as of now, the users, it depends on the user where he or she uses.
There are three things: motorcycle, user, and the road.
Yes, sir.
There are three things required to run a vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Roads are not there. Our boys are not under control.
Yes, sir.
One after other, they are running at 200 speed motorcycle and they bang it somewhere. Why not we ban all these vehicles right away? More than 200 cc or 300 cc. Take a limit and beyond that ban on Indian roads.
Sir, banning it will be like an argument saying that Indian roads cannot develop to an extent.
Let it develop first, then we'll do. Because now, see, we have banned all the vehicles on Delhi road beyond a speed of 50, 60. Where we put a ban on the speed, no? So let us ban the machine itself, which cannot run more than under 200 cc. Beyond 200 cc, we will not permit any. If there is a competition, race, etc., on a special permit, they will be given to those people. To the common public, I would not like to give the motorcycle of 2000 cc. Why should I give it?
Sir, I just believe that in a democratic country, the company has the right to make such vehicle, as well as the customer who is able to afford it and use it safely should also be given the leverage to buy such vehicle and use them within the safety norm.
You are the Chief Secretary of the Motor Vehicles Department. Would you recommend to the government that please ban these vehicles? We are having these many accidents in the year, and the fuel efficiency is like this. For every 5 kilometers, taking 1 liter of petrol, and it is very costly. Hardly we are selling 200, 300 vehicles in a year, and out of 200 vehicles we are selling in a year, 50 are meeting with accidents. These are the figures. So, as a Chief Secretary of Vehicle Department, would you recommend to the government banning?
Sir, I would not recommend banning these motorcycles or any technology for that sort. I would rather recommend more stringent safety norms, the better traffic rules, the better use by the customers, spreading awareness among the customer how they can safely use these vehicles. Because banning technology per se will stop the development of technology itself. Because there are other such technologies too, which may be used disruptively as well as constructively by the customers. So I think, sir, banning technology will something that I may not recommend.
So let the 50 people have died this year, let 60 die next year, let 70 die next year. Let it happen. Roads are there as it is. Roads will not improve. It takes time to improve to make the roads of 200 kmph. It will take time. So let it go on, you want to say.
No, sir. I believe that we can work on the traffic rules. We can work on the road, because if we see the accidents caused by the trucks or the buses or the normal cars, for that sake, are also high. So I believe that we will not go for banning it, and we'll
at least we'll put speed restriction on these vehicles.
Yes, sir. The traffic rules and the speed restriction should be followed.
I have been given a vehicle which can run at 200 kmph, but you put me a speed of 50. So what's the point of giving me 200 kmph vehicle when you are putting as chief commissioner? You have put the restriction on the road for 50 kmph. So what is my point taking this vehicle? So why not you say we will not give it, ban it? The country is not fit for this vehicle. Many times it happens. Country is not fit for some particular technology, so we do not permit. Why not this? This is the first case. Ajuddin's son died because of this. You know this?
Yes, sir.
Many more like that. Many more. So I would not like to lose even a single soul on this. So better ban it.
Sir, I believe that the roads which are conducive for running a vehicle at 120, like if we consider the expressways, then on those roads, these vehicles can be used at the speed limit that the traffic rules of the country recommends. because a lot of vehicles that the customer will be buying, maybe they are buying for the sake of collection, maybe they are buying for the sake of passion that they have on it. And we can also have a lot of safe customers in this segment who will buy the same bikes and will use it safely, sir. So I believe that banning is not a better way to go, but regulating it and promoting the safe use of these technologies is will be the better way forward, sir. Thank you, sir.
Just tell us something about PLI.
So PLI scheme is a production-linked incentive scheme which was recently rolled out by the government of India. So in this scheme, the main objective is to promote the domestic manufacture as well as export of the products in different segments like electronics, like the white goods, like in automobile sector. So this is one of the flagship schemes that the government of India is running to promote the export.
Suppose you are an entrepreneur, you also want to participate in PLI. Now, two platforms: increase production, get incentive. Now, you are not able to even sell whatever you are producing. How will you participate in this? Bank will not give you additional soft loan or the working capital, since you are not able to even repay because of non-selling of your products. At the same time, now you want incentive that can. So in that crossroad, how will this scheme be effective?
Sir, as we have seen, the scheme has been recently rolled out, and since the government of India has limited resources, so the PLI benefits are being given on the merit basis, on the basis of production that the company is able to do. So going forward, for the producers that we were just discussing about, for the small producers, I think the scheme can be further extended on the basis of by lowering the limits or the expectation that the government has from these companies, decreasing the capital requirement, decreasing the production requirement. But sir, I see this happening down the line when once these companies which are already being promoted, they develop the supply chain and also they develop an agglomeration of industries in these areas that will help the small industries too, sir.
Asad, what is journalizing experiences? Journaling experiences. Is it how?
Yes, sir.
Is it correctly you have written or something else you wanted to write? It is spelled JOURNALING.
Yes, sir.
Journaling experiences. What is that?
Sir, journaling is something very similar to diary writing, but diary writing is like a subset of journaling, because in diary writing, when a person writes a diary, he or she writes very personal stuff or the happenings of his or her day. But when we journal our day or our experiences, our entries are not limited to our own experiences. We look around the world, we see what is happening, and we use the concept that we already have or maybe anything that we have read to interpret it and reflect upon it. Sir, for example, I also have a goal-oriented journal which I maintain to write the short-term goals and the long-term goals that I want to achieve in that. So in that way, this helps me to reflect upon my own personality and my own shortcomings and to work on them, sir.
Good. So,
thank you.
Asad, you opted for anthropology as your subject.
Yes, sir.
What is the anthropology of nationalism?
Sir, though I have heard this term for the first time, may I attempt to explain it on the basis of the anthropological knowledge that I have?
How social media has made us more individualist?
Sir, social media has created another digital identity of everyone that is actually presented as a physical person. So one of the shortcomings of social media is that it is making people more self-centric, because everyone is more concerned about the digital identity that one has rather than the personalized interaction of the people, one-to-one interaction. And one of the studies that I read about it is that even someone who is posing to be as a very humorous person, someone having a very a good base for jokes and a good base of comedy, is actually in real life is a very non-comic kind of a person. So, sir, I understand that social media is actually compromising upon the physical personality of a person by creating an alternate digital personality. And that is why people are becoming more self-centric in this respect.
Some developments has taken place in Twitter world. Can you tell us something about
Sir, recently Twitter is since one of the big blogging platforms, social media platform. It was bought by one of the richest man, Elon Musk, and he bought it because he wants to promote the free speech and decrease the regulations that the company is or the platform was putting on people by banning people. So, sir, this is one of the major developments that I read about.
How this system has changed the human communication, social media.
Sir, one of the reasons that has affected is that people are becoming less efficient in communicating in actual life, while they are becoming more efficient when they type their emotions out. So one of the effect on the communication is that the people are not able to express themselves when they meet people in real life. So that is one of the shortcomings that people are coming forward to, because they're getting addicted to such platforms, and they're getting addicted to typing out their emotions rather than expressing them physically with the people they meet.
You have shown your interest in English literature, English poetry. Who was the father of the English poetry?
Sir, I'm not aware of it, because sir, I have actually done the poetry slam per se, and I've not done much of the English literature poetry.
You have not done, but you have written it as your hobby.
Sir, I wrote about poetry slam, which is a little different from the literature poetry that we do.
Which instrument you play?
Sir, I play percussion instruments. I started playing drums when I was in class 8th, and after that I moved on to darbuka, which is an Egyptian instrument. Sir, I also learned cajon. Cajon is a Peruvian instrument. Sir, after playing percussion instrument, recently I have developed interest in country music because I came across an artist called Bob Dylan, and I started learning guitar and harmonica. So that I'm trying to club these two instruments to make country music, and I'm trying to cover some songs there, sir.
Guitar is very popular instrument. In which part of the world?
Sir, guitar is a string instrument which started when we consider the history of guitar. Then it basically originated in the even in the Indian classical music. That instrument we look at, it started from there. But now, sir, with the pop culture going on, with the social media going on, the guitar is popular throughout the world. However, the current kind of guitar that we play, the acoustic guitar or electric guitar, are more of the Western music making. However, the string instrument in India are more related to the Indian classical music.
Like Sequo and Taraji, this is very popular, right?
Yes, sir.
You have appeared for CAP exam also. Yes. What was the result?
Sir, I appeared in the written examination. I cleared it. But sir, my physical test was in clashing with the UPSC Civil Service MES examination, so I could not appear for that. Thank you, sir.
Did you requested for some change of the date?
Sir, I sent a mail to ITBP, but the date was just one day before the exam, and it could not. I got the reply that it will not be.
But because why I'm asking this, because both the things are conducted by UPSC only finally, so they do consider. Because one of the students had interview and some state services thing. So this year only. So his interview was on somewhere on 18th or somewhere, and he requested. So now his interview is on 26th of May. So just this thing, it's possible. Anyway, another thing, this photo is yours only, right? Because you look very different than the photo. Just a curiosity.
Yes, sir. Sir, this is a 1.5-year-old photo. I've lost some weight after that, and
okay, no problem. See, it is generally said that anthropology is nothing but some things from history, some things from sociology, and some things from biology. Do you agree?
Sir, I believe that anthropology is a very holistic discipline, and that is one of the reasons that this argument comes up. So, but I see anthropology as a discipline which has an identity of itself too, because anthropology is the only discipline that holistically understands the world.
Sorry to interrupt you. Let me put it in this way. When we say history, we talk about history as in incidences, events, or things like that of human beings.
Yes, sir.
When you talk about sociology, we talk about society in context of human beings. When we talk about biology, obviously we talk about anatomy of human beings. What anthropology talks about? Human beings. What of human beings? For human beings only. It doesn't seem it's. Don't you think it seems very, megalomaniac kind of thing? We study humans like that. What of humans? It's not a separate stream then.
Sir, yes, sir, I understood. Sir, anthropology studies human in a holistic fashion, the development of human in the cultural, in the biological, in the economic sense, through space and time. That was a basic definition of anthropology. And how it differs is that as we study the society and as we are studying genetics, anthropology connects these two aspects of how genetic will affect the person's behavior, how a person's psychology can affect sociology, how the society of the time we are looking at affected the artifacts that we study in archaeology. So I think anthropology is a connecting link between all these subjects, as well as it has an identity of itself or understand of.
So that's what I was saying. Anthropology is like a connecting point. That I agree. It's a consolidation thing. Okay, that also I agree. Reconciliator. That also I agree. But somebody who reconciles obviously reconciles out of something, and will just rearrangement is the only new thing that the person brings in or that stream brings in. You're getting the point. Because anthropological research depends on the research of the basic research of all other aspects. You may say this is anthropological research, but it will be either biological research or historical research or sociological research, or these three combined together research. That's why, see, this is my kind of, doubt also to some extent. That's the reason anthropology was not very famous of late in India. As an academic stream also I'm talking about. The way sociology is very famous. Okay. Now, when the electric vehicles will come, I'm talking about 100% electric vehicles. As a mechanical engineer or an automobile engineer to some extent, because you worked also. Imagine a car. So, in what all way car will be different for an engineer?
So the very first difference that I can think of is the replacement of the internal combustion engine with the electric motors. So that is the.
So according to you, the EVs will not have anything called IC engines, spark plugs, and anything of that sort. I'm talking about 100% EVs. Don't talk about hybrid.
So a hybrid, yes, a hybrid and PHEVs may have, but when we consider the pure electric vehicles, it will just have a battery. It will have a control unit which will control the acceleration. It will have an inverter, and it will have the motors, and the transmission will be same as we have in the IC.
So transmission thing will be same.
It will be same.
So will here also this very important part called bevel gear will be there in this particular cars also, as that is there in IC engine. Do you know what is bevel gear?
Sir, I have read about it, but I am not able to
forgot it. Okay. It's very important.
Yes.
It's a very complex design gear system. Yes. Bevel gear. Anyway. Okay. Last question from my side. Now you're going to be or wish to be part of the UP administration, basically because that's your first choice and you are from UP. So what do you think are the three main issues, okay, that perhaps you would like to advise to the higher administration of UP to work upon?
Sir, one of the major issues that I see is poverty, because the recent report of Niti Aayog, the Multidimensional Poverty Index, has shown that UP is in the last three ranks of poverty. So one of the major issues that the state has to deal with is poverty. The second one is health. When we consider the indicators like the maternal mortality rate, it's as high as 258 in Uttar Pradesh, which is extremely high as compared to national average, which has come down to around 103 in the recent NFHS survey. So apart from that, the IMR is also high in UP. So these indicators show us that health needs to be developed on a faster basis. So the third one I see is education, because the illiteracy is also a major issue that the state faces. And sir, one of the things that I realized while living in the state is that a lot of work is being done on the supply side of education, like the midday meal scheme is being provided, the Anganwadi schools are there. However, when you consider the demand side, then because of illiteracy of the parents and the illiteracy of the students, they are not able to get the back-end support or the after-school support. So that is one of the reasons that a very high dropout rate is also reported.
See, whenever we ask this question to anybody who is staying in UP, the first reaction is law and order. Because what you talked about is basically HDI, Human Development Index 3, all the three things. But it is said that in UP, if law and order is not there, don't even talk about HDI. Because that's what has been happening for the last 30, 40 years. Perhaps this is the reason UP and Bihar remained, one of the Bimaru states, so to speak. And it didn't appear in your list of things. Why do you think law and order is not that important as against what you talked about? And as far as the primacy of the issues are concerned, see, issues are always important. All the issues are important. But at that point of time, urgency and importance, both has to be taken into consideration. Yes. So, how do you think and how much do you think law and order is important?
Yes, sir. Law and order is extremely important when we come down to the human development as well, because the development indicators cannot develop without people being at peace, being able to do their own jobs at peace. Sir, but I've seen a positive development in this respect in the state recently, because even in my city, we heard about a lot of incidents of burglary happening at night. But on this front, the state is improving already. Sir, so that was one of the reasons that I put it below these three indicators, which I see the problem are still pertaining around me when I consider my own district.
See, another point, it is generally said that you talk about HDI, basically you're talking about welfare measures, but and obviously everything requires fund. Yes. So it's like this, if you have cake only, you can distribute. From where the wealth will come? To the society at large, and obviously revenue for the government. From where the wealth will come?
Sir, I think one of the major aspects in this is improving the tax base that we have.
UP may improving the tax base doesn't make sense, because if tax base has to be improved, you have to go to the already industrialized states, better industrialized states where tax avoidance is happening, whatever it is. Here, employment is another issue, because if you are not giving employment, you cannot have anything that you talked about. So, industrial development / employment generation. Don't you think that's the most pressing issue now? Because as I said, if you don't have wealth, what would you distribute? And that's exactly what is happening. What's the GDP of UP, such a big state? What is the GDP of Maharashtra? It's a half of UP, not even half, as far as the population density is concerned. So when you have GDP only, you can distribute, isn't it? So unless industrial development happens, unless employment generation happens, from where the money will generate, that will come to government, and then government will do HDIs, Human Development Index. So don't you think industrial development and subsequent employment generation is perhaps the more pressing need? Whether government is working it on it or not, that's another story. But this seems more important to me. What do you say?
Sir, I think this is one of the more important issues. That is the industry as well as the employment. It's very important because unless and until a person has money in his pocket, the other SDI indicators may not work. Sir, but one of the major problems that UP has is that of the shortage of resources, of the natural resources. Sir, so I think if we have to work in this segment, then we have to focus on the MSME segment as well as the production segment, like the recent the defense industrial corridor, the one district, one product program.
It doesn't seem to have any resource crunch per se. It's a very fertile place. It may not be having resources specifically for one particular industry, that I agree. You may not have that IT engineers like that, but we have, because all the UP IT engineers are working. Where do you work? Like Hero Honda, what was the place for you?
So I was in Gurgaon for 3 years.
Okay, so
and then I was in Chennai.
So good engineers like you, they have to go to either Gurgaon, still you can consider, but you have to go to Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore, Hyderabad. So it's not that we don't have talent. Obviously we have, but there is no industry. Okay, and for that there has to be a lot of FDIs and things like that. It's this thing. Anyway, last question that I wanted to ask you is simple. Why do you want to join civil services? What's your rationale, motivation, whatever it is you can call it?
Sir, it's a combination of personal and professional reasons that I want to join the civil services. One of the personal reasons is that I've always wanted to be a part of service while growing up, because it's something that I saw in my father, to take accountability of the things around yourself and to try and make an effort to bring a change. So apart from that, when I see professionally that civil services is a very promising and stable career, because it provides me an opportunity to work in the services, which is one of the best services for the government of India. So, sir, I see the combination of personal and professional reasons will I expect it to provide me a better work satisfaction ahead in the service.
Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Asad, you said you have short-term goals and long-term goals. You appeared in some armed police service. Where does this armed police fit into your goals? Short-term goal or long-term?
Sir, if I consider the exam that I give for CAPF, it was one of my short-term goals to achieve what I wanted to achieve in a long term. I wanted to be a part of civil services, but I was also going through a time when I wanted some kind of financial security, as well as a stable job under the government itself, which matches with my preparation of civil services. So, sir, I wanted to go ahead with this examination, but I wanted to keep attempting for the civil services examination too. So, sir, it was that decision.
During preparations, you must have read newspaper, magazines, and everything. There are 4 estates. 3, you know, and we call estates in India: judiciary, executive,
Legislature, sir.
and the legislature. Yes. Press is known as 4th estate. Yes. Why it is known as 4th estate?
Sir, press or media is known as the 4th estate because it is considered as to be one of the 4 pillars which keeps a citizen informed about what are the 3 other states up to. Because in a democracy, when people are the ones who are electing their representatives, they need to be informed, they need to be aware about the workings in the country. So, sir, I think this is one of the biggest reasons that media is considered to be as the 4th estate, because it makes the system transparent for the people to make a more informed choice, to work and select a better legislature. So that is one of the reasons.
Okay. You are a mechanical engineer. Yes. You have worked in Hero Motor Corp also. See what happens when you go and buy a vehicle. They give it all kinds of discounts and cheap and everything. But when you go for repairs, they charge very heavily. Initially, cost is less, but repair cost is very high. Isn't it unethical that you first take the customer whatever cost, all kinds of discounts, and when he is yours, then you start routing him to repairs. Even a small part, a simple rubber pipe, which costs only 2 rupees, they'll charge 20 rupees. Isn't it unethical?
Sir, I believe the practice is unethical because the customer who has already shown a trust in a company, he or she expects the same level of trust and cooperation while going ahead with the service too. And this is where after sales come into picture, sir. And I think that a company who is indulged in such kind of practices is bound to lose customers, because if the customer does not repeat, or the customer does a bad mouth publicity of a company, then they're bound to lose their share of customer base. So I believe this is an unethical practice, and most of the companies should follow an ethical work culture in this if they want to retain the customer and they want to retain their brand image in the country.
Have you touched upon this aspect in your project report?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have said that this practice is unethical.
Sir, no, we did not say that, sir. But we actually, in our report, with the project which I did, one of the major things that was in the part of the excitement segment or the performance segment of Kano's analysis was that we suggested that if the waiting lounge where the person is waiting, if it's in a bad condition, if the person is not able to see what exactly process goes on during services and why is he being charged, which oil is being put, what are the things that are being replaced. If the customer is ill-informed, this will lead to a customer who is dissatisfied with the service. So we touched upon these aspects to make this process more ethical and to increase customer satisfaction for the company.
You have been a musical instrument player, and as you were telling that you have searched all musical instruments throughout the world, one from this country, one from this country, you named 6-7 countries. Could you ever think of some instruments, Indian instruments, especially from the villages? Our instruments are one of the top class instruments. If you go to villages, you will find a different kind of harmonium, a different kind of tabla. Could you search your Indian instruments before going for the interaction? All different names and all. Could you lay your hands on this? Did you ever try? What do we have?
Yes, sir. Sir, when I consider the percussion segment, then most of the percussions that I have or I have played, like one of the percussions called as kanjira, which is a Carnatic musical instrument, is also an Indian instrument, and I have tried my hand on that too, and I am trying to learn that. So though I am not classically trained yet, but I aspire to do that as a part of my short-term goal. So apart from that, while studying anthropology, I also studied about some of the tribal instruments that the Santhal tribal used. Sir, apart from that, there's an instrument called rabab, which is very one of the Indian instruments that is famous in India. Sir, I have searched about this instrument and I aspire to learn them too with the classical music.
Last question. You have been active in Quora blogging or something. You answer the questions or you put your questions there?
Sir, the website recently came up with this feature of having your own spaces or blogs. So, sir, because I love chai a lot, so I made a blog called as Chai Biscuit, and on that blog I started writing fiction, and I started writing a horror fiction there. I used to write it in parts, and I used to leave the story at a cliffhanger to make the process more exciting. The story is called The Rightful Owner, and I'm still working on it.
And how's the response? People must be reading it.
Sir, I got a good response after writing around 10 parts of it. So my readership for that was around, it crossed around 1.4 lakhs on that story. So I aspire to complete that when I go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
We'll call you in 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.